I'm Charlie Kupke of the National Bit and Spur and Saddle Collectors Association. Good to have you along with us today. We're going to talk about one of the great spur makers that I've known and collected and have always admired, and that's the late Ray Anderson. Yes, he would be classified as a contemporary maker, starting in the early 70s in the South Plains of Texas, later moving to Weatherford, Texas, where he had a shop and built spurs for many years before moving to Abilene, where he spent the remainder of his life, passing in 2020 at the age of 92 years old. And Mr. Ray was a nice man, and as well as his wife Doris, he had some things that he done a little different than other people. He always mounted in sterling. He had some peculiarities, maybe from the standpoint he never understood double mounted spurs because he said nobody ever saw them because they just saw the outside. And he started out, though, building more of the J.O. Bass, J.R. McChesney style spurs. Then further into his career, he got to making more Texas overlay type spurs, and he only built a little over 1,500 pair. So that to me, they're very collectible, and I've owned a lot of them. I wear them. I love them. But he had his own style. They stand out real good. He was a man that was very fair in his pricing. He didn't charge a lot for his spurs. And when we saw a real downturn in the economy in about '08, we saw some spur values back up. Mr. Ray's continued to go up because his were undervalued for so long. And today you can find most of your just everyday spurs that he made, a lot of single mounts and without buckles or anything, and they run in that $1,400 to $1,600 range. So they're still very collectible. To me, a good place if you want to collect to start. He also made buckles, not a lot of them, but did make spur strap buckles. And I'm going to show you in a moment a couple buckles that he made that was bigger than spur strap, and one of them was one made for me personally. Didn't make a lot of bits. He did make a few Galleg bits for sure that matched the Galleg spurs he made. But I've seen several hundred of his spurs, probably seen less than 20 of his bits. So we're going to start off with a pair that I think is one of the nicest pair that I have ever seen, mounted in sterling and copper, fully double mounted. And this is a pair, and he marked them, always numbered them. And this is pair number 350. And for me, that is about the time period he really started peaking out in his workmanship. And I liked from that mid threes on up to the end, but they was more my style than the old style. These buckles and conchos are sterling. They've been added later. He did not make these. Now here's a pair number 599 of goose heads. He made a lot of goose heads for me over the years. I've always been fond of them, and especially Ray Anderson's. This is one of my personal pair that I've worn a lot, and I told him I wanted bars on them, and he said, well, geese fly in a V pattern, so he put the chevrons on them instead. This is a pair of smaller ones that he made for me, and I bought from him years ago, and they are number 532. Then this pair here is a great pair and unusual because he did copy some other makers, and this would be a Kelly Brothers pattern that he made and only single mounted them, and they're number 731. This is a buckle out of sterling, and he made it solid sterling. I asked him to make me a nice little belt buckle to wear, and he made it solid sterling and done his typical style of work on it. Then if we can show this one, this is a nice belt buckle, put it on a wide headstall, whatever. And here again, of course, it's all sterling mounted. But as we try to expand our information out into the bit and spur world as an organization, I just think he's a man that cannot be overlooked because he's a real gentleman, highly respected, also a man willing to help other makers improve their skills. So I'm glad to be here today on behalf of the National Bit and Spur and Saddle Association talking about Mr. Ray. If you're interested in our membership, in our association. You can find us on Facebook, or you can also, we have a web page. So anything we can do that we might help you from the organization, why, feel free to contact us. I'm Charlie Kepke, Stillwater, Oklahoma, and thank you very much.